This is the Kevin Trudeau Show.
I am exposing the corruption in government and in major multinational corporations. We're telling you the things that they don't want you to know that will make your life better.
That's loud. Wow, we have a new system here and it's so loud. I just heard all that blasting and all that applause. You're watching the fastest growing show on the internet. That is not true. We are not the fastest growing show, but we should be. So you're watching what should be the fastest growing, most watched show on the internet. I'm Kevin Trudeau. This is the Kevin Trudeau Show. Everything they don't want you to know about. And every time I sit down here, I am facing prison. There are people all around the world that are being arrested because they talk. Welcome to the new world order, where there is no free speech. The thought police around the world is controlling everything. But the good news is at the end of the show, you're going to feel better than you feel now because I'm going to give you the way out. I'm going to give you every single show, some strategy, some insight, some information that's going to make you feel better. Something that you can apply in your life. I'm going to expose things that are going to open your eyes and you're going to go, wow, I never heard that before. Didn't know that. And it's going to be something that's going to make you feel better because now with that inside knowledge, you'll be able to apply something and make your life better and be happier and be more at cause over your environment. If you're new to the show, make sure you subscribe to the show, click the notification button, leave comments, share the shows with everyone. And if you're new to the show, you should really binge watch. I mean, seriously, get a pot of coffee, a lot of caffeine, jack yourself up so you don't fall asleep, but you can't because the show itself is going to energize you because I'm throwing out photons. And I'm not kidding here. When you watch this show, you're getting energized. There's an energy transference here. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you are like, what is he talking about? Don't worry about that. But binge watch some of the old shows. People are saying, and I'm not talking about just the viewers like yourself, that the information is like mind-blowing. The success secrets you're learning, the health secrets you're learning, the inside secrets of what goes on behind the curtain is just mind-blowing. But the trainers that are out there, guys that I know that charge $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a day of training, they call me up or email me and go, Kevin, what are you doing, man? You're giving it all away for free. Yeah, I'm empowering people. So welcome aboard. I got all these things here, and I'm not sure who I'm going to be today. I wear multiple hats, so I could be movie critic. That's one. I could be marketing genius, and that's easy, as you know. I was Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Chicago Tribune, London Times, Sydney Times. They called me America's marketing guru, a true marketing genius, the master of modern day marketing, all these things because of the billions of dollars that I've created or helped other people create in business. So I could be marketing genius today. I could be clairvoyant. Gary Spivey and other world-known psychics said, and they called me one of the greatest clairvoyants they've ever seen, and also psychic. If you go back to some of my interviews 10 years ago, we've showed some here on this show, like the interview I had with Alex Jones. Kevin was psychic. Everything he said happened. And when he said it, we laughed at him. And people who've had one-on-ones with me, a live Zoom, and they get on the call, and I look at them and I say, your mother has a problem with alcohol, right? Alcoholic, right? How did you know that? And I'm like, I can see it in your field. You're a psychic, Kevin. No, I'm just seeing it in your field. Infomercial king. I could be the infomercial king today. I've been called that many times. I hold that title. I've produced more winning infomercials in the world than anyone else, the highest percentage of winning infomercials. And I think I own the record of the highest gross if you take all the money that I've generated since 1989, converted into today's dollars. I think I've grossed the highest amount. So I am the infomercial king, kind of like the marketing genius. World's best mentor. And I know this is true because somebody sent me this mug. So I'm clearly, I mean, they wouldn't have sent this to me if it wasn't true. So I am the world's best mentor. I could be that today. Former insider, I could be wearing that hat today. You see the little Anunnaki. I just got this last night at a dinner with people that had finished the money processes, and somebody gifted this to me. So I may be talking about aliens today, by the way. They were asking, Kevin, you've been to Area 51. So I could be former insider. I could be wearing my super genius hat today, but I don't want to make people feel inferior. So I may not wear it, but I could. Like Wile E. Coyote, super genius. I could be wearing my guru hat today, because as you know, some people say Kevin Trudeau is like Clark Kent, was Superman. They say Kevin Trudeau, we think, is Guru Kev. And this is the Guru Kev book. It's the teachings of Guru Kev, the revolutionary concept of spiritual materialism, which means you can have it all. You can be spiritually enlightened, blissfully happy, completely connected to the universe, and drive a Rolls Royce, and have everything you want, and have great sex, and have a great relationship. So you can have it all. But some people say that Guru Kev is actually, or I am actually Guru Kev. And I neither admit or deny. So I could be Guru today. I could be wearing a Guru hat. And when I wear the Guru hat, when I do this, people go, they fall over and go, what just happened? I could be wearing the natural health expert hat. I don't have that book here. I think it's back there. Natural cures they don't want you to know about, and more natural cures revealed. The best-selling books of all time. There it is, over there. There it is. Natural cures they don't want you to know about. The #1 best-selling book of all time on health. Over 50 million copies sold. #1, the New York Times best-selling. It's 26 weeks in a row. And more natural cures revealed. I am coming up with a brand new version, 2025 next year. The new, updated, I mean blow you away book on natural cures. And anybody, if you're on our mailing list, you're going to get it first at a massive discount. So if you're not on our mailing list, go to KevinTrudeau.com. Go to KevinTrudeau.com. You can click on any of the websites there, like the fan club or whatever, and sign up and make sure you get on our mailing list. So just go to KevinTrudeau.com and you can click on Guru Kev or Nuggets of Gold or fan club and punch in your details to get on one of our mailing lists. But go to KevinTrudeau.com. All the websites are at KevinTrudeau.com. We're going to start just giving KevinTrudeau.com out as the, because it's confusing. We have too many websites. So John Denny in California said to just give out KevinTrudeau.com because all the websites are right there. The fan club is there. GuruKev.com is there. Nuggets of Gold is there. Global Information Network's there. KevinTrudeau.com is the easy one. So I could be natural, and I will warn you, I am going to wear this hat today. Good news. You're going to get some good health information. I could be book critic, and as you know, I have been giving out great book recommendations. I might not wear this hat today, but I will in the future. On this show, I recommend books that you should read. And people say, oh my God, I didn't even know this book existed. All the books today that are coming out by these guys who are wannabes and wishful thinkers, and they write books on success they don't know anything about. They know about success, but they don't know success. It's completely different. The books I recommend are coming from a place of knowing this. So I might be wearing book critic hat today. And I'm not going to wear this hat. I'm just telling you I am a #1 New York Times bestselling author. And by the way, only a handful of people in the world can claim that title. People say, I'm a best-selling author. Yeah, on what? The Amazon daily list for the hour? Oh, you were the best-selling author for the 15 minutes between 12 midnight and 12:15 a.m., and you sold 47 books. So therefore, you're not a bestseller. Listen, if you didn't sell 1 million copies, don't even open your mouth. Don't even think about calling yourself all these people. I'm a best-selling author. Sold 100 million books. I think I qualify. So I'm going to call them, this is true, not just one book, but multiple. Number one, matter of fact, I came out when my book, Natural Cures, was, and I'm bragging on myself. But the reason I'm doing this is, who do you listen to? You listen to people who have what you want and been where you are. And there's a lot of people on the internet today and on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify, and I have no idea why anyone would listen to these people. It's like listening to a guy at the bar. I mean, you go to the bar, the drunk next to you is giving you his opinion about life, and you listen to everything he says. Who do you listen to? Listen to people who have what you want and have been where you are. Learn from everyone, yes. Yes, learn from everyone. Remember, the wise man learns from the fool, but the fool does not learn from the wise man because he thinks he knows it all. So clearly listen to everyone. But anyway, I am a New York Times bestselling author, so I am going to leave that there. I have a lot of things to discuss today. If you watched some of the previous shows, you saw my interview with Alex Jones from 2009. Was it 2009, Trey? I think it was 2009, yeah? Yeah, I think it was 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, 2009. It was prophetic. If you watch that and you know what has happened since then, in the world, with me, everything I said was true. Price of gold, bam, bam, bam. I mean, because it wasn't my opinion. I'm giving you inside information from the Bilderberg meetings I've been to, Bohemian Grove meetings I've been to, Council on Foreign Relation, you name it. I am going to, and I like that, the hashtag KevinWasRight. And that's very profound because Trey doesn't even know what I'm going to talk about. And I have a list of things here which prove and show I was right again. And this is just a little things that are going to blow your mind. So we are going to do a lot of Kevin Was Right today with information that's going to help you. But before I do, a major thing has happened in the media. If you have listened to me and read the Guru Kev lessons in the Guru Kev book, followed any of my teachings, you know that there's something called the secret science of images. The image makers create something out of nothing and implant your mind with images and get you to feel a certain way and think a certain way. Here's an example. Watch, if you're in America, every day, everywhere, on the internet, on television, radio, newspapers, magazines, if they even still exist today, and I know they do, there are ads for pharmaceutical drugs. In the magazines, they're full-page ads, and sometimes 2 or 3 pages. Think of how much money they're spending. Think of the profits they make, even while spending that astronomical amount of money. When I was on the Today Show with Matt Lauer on NBC, he told me, and it's common knowledge because all the records are there, that the drug companies are the #1 advertiser in the evening news and on NBC. NBC collects more money from the pharmaceutical companies, and so does ABC and CBS and all the major broadcasters around the United States. Now, in some countries, you can't even advertise for pharmaceutical drugs. But in the U.S., you can. The #1 advertiser is pharmaceutical drugs, so they control the media. And we know this because when I went on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and was interviewed, I sat down, Katie Couric was there, and she was wonderful. And Matt was terrific, by the way. I know he went through a lot of challenges, and my heart goes out to him for some of the challenges and he had. You know, we all stumble in the past. But he was terrific, and Katie Couric was terrific, and the entire crew was wonderful. The cameramen came up to me. They had my book, Natural Cures. They wanted me to autograph it. They wanted a picture with me. The people outside wanted to have pictures with me and sign the autographs. And everyone was really terrific and supportive and excited and so forth. However, my book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, as you know, exposed the pharmaceutical industry. And it exposed a few things about the pharmaceutical industry. #1, drug companies are publicly traded companies, which means the board of directors and all the officers have a legal fiduciary responsibility to increase shareholder value, which means the people that run every drug company, they have a legal obligation to do one thing: sell more drugs. Their only objective is to increase the profits of that corporation. If they do not focus on that singular objective, they can be found liable for a criminal act against the shareholders. So the drug companies, being publicly traded companies, have no interest in curing disease. Because if everybody was healthy, healthy people don't buy drugs. So if a drug company said, I am going to cure diabetes, and that drug company sells insulin, and it waves a magic wand and there's no more diabetics, the company goes bankrupt. And that guy goes to prison because he cured diabetes. He doesn't want to cure diabetes. He wants to get more people taking more insulin every day for the rest of their life. That's a business model. They don't want to cure disease. They want to treat symptoms. Think about that. And today it's outrageous. Oh, if you're taking an antidepressant and you're still depressed, which means it ain't working, then you need to take another one. So you add this to the one you exist. Now, instead of taking one drug every day for the rest of your life, you'll take two. And then the ad says, if you're taking 2 or 3 antidepressants and it's giving you a dry mouth, then you need to take this additional drug. Here's another one. If you're taking these drugs and you have these problems with your motor skills, which is very common, if you're one of those people that drop stuff, then take this drug. So the business model is beautiful. I give this sucker a drug. I get this fool to go to their doctor and say, I saw all these ads. I want the drug. He takes the drug. You take the drug like a fool every day. And then that drug creates another health problem. And what's the cure for that? Take another drug. And then that drug causes another health problem. What's the cure for that? Another drug. The drug companies are laughing at you because you took the first drug, which gave you all these health problems. Now you take another drug to handle those symptoms. That gives you more health problems. Then you take a third drug. So now you're taking 3 drugs every day. The first drug for the symptom, which isn't even working. The second drug to handle the symptoms created by the first drug. And the third drug to handle the symptoms created by the second and the first drug. Drug companies are just cashing in, baby. Flying on the private jets. Oh, this is great. Look at all these dummies. And how do they get you to do that? They're image makers. It's the ads, the ads, the ads. And what are the ads? You watch any drug ad. And what do you see? Do you see people saying, I'm depressed? No. Here are the ads. And they have all this great music. Oh man, life is great. I'm taking drugs from this drug company. Man, Pfizer is so good. Merck is so good. Oh, baby, yeah, I'm having, look at this girl I'm dancing with. Oh, and if you have if you want to have these symptoms, take this drug. Yeah, I want that drug. I want to be doing this too. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah. And then while they're doing that, and they're doing yoga, and oh, I'm doing yoga, I'm swimming, and oh, look at the kids, I'm playing ball, and I'm happy, you know, everything's wonderful. Then you hear symptoms include loss of sight, your dick falls off for many people, erectile dysfunction, suicidal thoughts, violence toward others, wanting to slice your wrists, throwing up, nausea, and death. If any of these symptoms happen, stop taking the drug immediately. Okay, well, I just died, so I think I'll stop taking the drug now. The image makers. And it's beautiful. Presidential candidates are not elected, they're selected. And when they're selected, and I talked about this in some previous shows, and other people on the internet have pointed this out as well. I'm not the only person. You can take people like Barack Obama, who was a community organizer, a nobody, and he goes to a Bilderberg meeting. He gets invited to the Bilderberg meeting. He comes out and all of a sudden, boom, he's elected as a senator. First-year senator, hasn't even finished his term, and he's elected president. He was selected, completely controlled like a puppet. Perfect. You have Bill Clinton. Arkansas. Nobody. Last in the polls. Goes to the Bilderberg meeting. Comes out. He has been selected because he will follow along like a puppy. I'll do anything to get power and to be able to have as many women I want to come to the White House to have sex with. Look, I'm not criticizing him for that. JFK, had Marilyn Monroe come in, and I'm not judging anybody. Good for him. Good for the people that were in there. I guess if they had a good time. I mean, I don't judge anyone. You do what you want to do. Live your life the way you want. Just know, as long as it's consensual. Okay, maybe it wasn't real nice to his wife, unless she said, I don't care. I just want the power and control and the money. Sleep with whoever you want. I don't know. I'm not in that inner circle there. I'm not judging. But the point is, they're selected. And now we have Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. Everybody in Washington hates Trump. The media hates Trump. They don't want him in. He's an outsider. The Bilderberg group hates him. Council on Foreign Relations hates him. He's not following the globalist agenda. He's not going to be controlled. Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a buffoon or not, whether you think he's a liar or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is, everybody in the establishment, with rare exception, and there's a couple people in there that actually have a particular idea of what's going to be better for, first, the American, because he's an American president, not a global president. So they think he can actually help the standard of living and quality of life for American citizens, not people who are in the country illegally, but people who are legally in the country, living in the country legally, and who are U.S. citizens. And there are people that think, what's the difference? If a person's in here illegally, they have rights too. Look, I'm not going to argue human beings have human rights because they're human beings and we have to love everyone categorically 100%. Should we have borders then? Should we have immigration? Do you have to have a passport? Why don't we just take all passports away around the world and say, hey, you can travel anywhere you want in the world, live anywhere you want, do whatever you want? Why not? Why not do that? Well, we'll have a show about that insanity and ridiculousness. How's that working out in Germany? Yeah, bring them all in. Okay, good. Stab, 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 kill, kill, kill. Why did you do that? Because the fools in Germany let me come in the country and I am an Islamic insane person who wants to kill Christians and hate the culture of Germany. But they, like idiots, let me in. I mean, that just happened, right? And that's nothing against Islam or Muslims, who I love, and they're beautiful people. This is about an insane person who just happens to be Islamic. Just like there's insane Christians who bomb an abortion clinic. If you're doing violence, regardless of your ideology or your religion, you're a nutcase. Violence is something you should stay away from. Just love people, man. Love them. Choose love, baby. Choose love. Okay, so we have the image makers. And the image makers are trying to create an image in your mind. And it works because you're all susceptible to the negative influence of other people. You're a psyop. If you watch the show, perhaps you'll wake up and come out of your trance and stop being a psyop. So one of the things that's interesting is we have MAGA, Make America Great Again. And some of you hate that. I have a good friend of mine. He hates Donald Trump. He hates MAGA. He's, of course, from Hollywood. And we're having dinner, and he's driving us home. We're in the backseat chatting, and we talked about Robert F. Kennedy and Trump, and we were just having a discussion. And he said, oh my God, he was to his wife, he goes, should we throw them out of the car now or later? And we all were laughing because he's an ultra left-wing liberal. And we have nice conversations, and he's one of my best friends, and we can have political differences, and that should be the way it is for everyone. But there are those people who are have vitriol, hatred toward Trump or Make America Great Again. If you don't like Trump, that's fine. If you don't like Make America Great Again or his policies, that's fine. But why do you have so much hatred? Aren't you the people who say, choose love? Aren't you the group that says, we need to be inclusive? We need to accept everybody. Except anybody who believes in Donald Trump! You I hate! But we need to love everyone. And we hate those MAGA people because they dislike homosexuals. Well, you understand? You hate that guy with violence and vitriol. You have a conniption because you think he doesn't like illegal immigrants. Well, if you really are inclusive, you should love everybody, even the person that you completely disagree with. In other words, you should be tolerant of somebody who's intolerant. That's love. If I come up to somebody and they are homophobic and completely intolerant to homosexuals or illegal immigrants, and they hate those people for whatever reason, or they're racist and they hate somebody who's a Muslim or hate somebody who's black or hate somebody who's Indian, obviously they have a lot of intolerance, they have a lot of prejudice, but I'm tolerant of that person. I disagree with their philosophy, I disagree with their actions, I disagree with their words of hate toward others completely. But where's the love? Where's the tolerance to the intolerant? But the image makers. We have a guy named Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who the media hates. Why do they hate him so much? Why do they hate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. so much? And I've had RFK Jr. on my radio show in the past. Why does the media hate? Keyword, hate. Listen to the commentators. It is hatred toward the man. They don't even discuss his policies or his opinions. The attacks are not against his policy or his opinion or his political stance. The hatred is always toward the man personally. Even some of the family members who are liberal Democrats, their attacks are not against, well, we disagree with his policy because we think his policy is actually not best for the American public. They don't say that. They say, he's insane. We hate him for what he's doing. His father is going to be rolling over in his grave. But they don't mention the policy that they disagree with. So what does Robert F. Kennedy say? So I'm going to quote, this is an absolute quote, that the media refuses to even mention. Whether you agree with Robert F. Kennedy or not, that's irrelevant. But I want you to listen to this and ask yourself, why does the media hate this man who said this? This is horrible. Is this horrible or not? So let's take a look. Here's Robert F. Kennedy's statement that the media hates. Make America Great Again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. Why is that horrible? Isn't that the most balanced, logical, reasonable statement you've ever heard? In other words, he says it recalls factually a nation, America, brimming with vitality, a can-do spirit, and hope and belief in itself. That's true. That was America at one point and is not today. MAGA, Make America Great Again, recalls an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows. In other words, it was an America that was beginning to confront some of the things it did as a nation bad in the past, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time can celebrate its successes. Isn't that balanced? Every person can look back at their life and say, I acknowledge where I erred, where I made mistakes, where I made errors, where I hurt people, where I did something wrong that I wouldn't do again, that I regret. But at the same time, I acknowledge some of the great things I did in my life as well. Isn't that true? And why can't a country acknowledge some of the terrible things that maybe they have done as a country and a nation, and they believed in the past, but at the same time also acknowledge some of the great things? Hey, we built the Panama Canal. Hey, we built these amazing bridges. Hey, we did this. Hey, we did that. Hey, we had this and that wonderful thing. Sure, we also had some bad things, but can't we celebrate our past successes? All right, here's what else he said that's terrible. America was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief not consistently applied, however, in freedom, justice, and democracy. America was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology. And it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked with the man himself. This is the America they want to restore. How heinous. How heinous. Why would you want to vote for somebody who wants to bring back a country that at one time led the world in prosperity? And that's factually true. Why would you want to bring back that? Why would you want to bring back a country that had, at one point, does not anymore, the most vibrant middle class? America had, at one time, but no longer does, the most vibrant middle class with the best standard of living and best quality of life in the world. That is not arguable. That's agreed upon by everyone. It doesn't exist anymore. Why would you want to bring that back? Why would you want somebody who says, let's bring that back? Why would you want that? That's terrible. He goes on to admit that America was a country that had idealistic beliefs in freedom, justice, and democracy, but it wasn't consistently applied to everyone. And that's true. That's an acknowledgement of a fact. He goes on to point out something. America at one time, and for many years, was a country that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology, and was the healthiest country in the world. That's factually true, documented and substantiated, and it's also documented and substantiated that it's no longer true. So why would you vote for somebody who says, I want to bring that back? You see, there's another ideology, and the other ideology is our best days are behind us for America, and it's time that we become a global partner and start helping the world. And yes, that's true as well. It's sad that there are people in Africa, India, that live in absolute abject poverty, that are starving with sickness and disease. That's true. But it doesn't mean that we have to reduce our standard of living in the United States and reduce the quality of life that we have, which has been consistently happening for the last 30 years or 40 years, consistently going down. We kind of peaked in 1968. If you kind of look at the stats, it's anywhere between 65 and 75 when we peaked in terms of prosperity. Huge crime wave after the Vietnam War, and everything kind of went sideways when Nixon took us off the gold standard and opened up China, when Kissinger went there. And I know that because I talked to Henry and about that specifically, and it was a specific plan. He said, yeah, we decided that America was over. It's time for them to go down and China to take over the next. So the point is, the image makers are creating something that isn't real. They're creating hatred toward a person. Look, no matter what country you are watching this broadcast, every country has political parties. America has two. Most countries have more than two. Politicians generally are liars. They say one thing and what they're doing in the back are completely different. We see this with everybody, and it's always the same. 3 presidents of major universities, I think in Columbia University and others, resigned. Why? Because their text messages were found. So they were up there saying, we believe in protecting the rights of everyone on our campus. And me, as chancellor of this university, will do everything I can to make sure the rights of all students are taken care of. Sounds good. And then the text messages. This rights bullshit is just nothing but a crock. I have to get up there and say stuff that I want to throw up. But I need to make that has to be the public persona. I mean, they write this. They're just liars. They get up there, and politicians are the same thing. There was a funny video somebody sent me that had Kamala Harris, who was in charge of the border wall. I was like, no, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. Yeah. She was put in charge of the border wall. And by the way, we have to get the clip when Obama, during the State of the Union address, put Biden as in charge of curing cancer in 2 years. I'm going to get him. It's going to be the moonshot. The guy back there doesn't even know who's asleep. Biden, he's going to be in charge of curing cancer. And everyone applauded like, all right. What? Cancer's cured now. I mean, Obama said Biden's going to cure cancer. Biden's looking around like, what are you talking about? And of course, oh, here we go. We going to play this clip? You got this clip or no? Yeah. Let's play this clip. See, he's falling asleep.
Vice President Biden said that with a new moonshot, America can cure cancer. Last month, he worked with this Congress to give scientists at the National Institutes of Health the strongest resources that they've had in over a decade. Well,
cancer's cured.
So tonight I'm announcing a new national effort to get it done. And because he's gone to the mat for all of us on so many issues over the past 40 years, I'm putting Joe in charge of mission control.
Cure cancer, Joe. Look at him. What is he talking about?
We've all lost. For the families that we can still save, let's make America the country that cures cancer once and for all. What do you say, Joe?
You got it, Joe? Joe's like, yeah. Yeah, what did he say? Is he talking to me? Sure, what? Attaboy, Joe. Attaboy. Well, thank God cancer's cured. I got articles here by KevinWasRight. Cancer's up 40%. Cancer's up 80%. Millennials have more cancer now than ever before in history. Good job, Joe. Good job. They say something and it's completely not true. They just make stuff up. It's ridiculous. So there's this funny video of Kamala Harris somebody sent me, and she's saying, I'm a prosecutor and I know how to handle the border. I know how to make sure that we protect the border, that we don't have people illegally coming into the country. And behind her are like hundreds of illegal immigrants coming across, like waving, like, hi. Where's my cell phone? I want my Visa card with $2,000 a month on it. I'm coming into the country illegally from Mexico, but actually from some Arab country or Somalia or China or whatever. It's like a third of the people coming across the border aren't even Mexicans. They're from, actually it's about half. Half of the people coming across the Mexican border, stealing, breaking the rules, breaking the law, coming over and they get in line, give me a cell phone, give me my Visa card for $2,000, give me a place to live. Nobody wants to talk about that. And they just don't do anything. It's like, come on in. But then if you come across the border in Canada and you're actually coming in through the airport, they go, give me your passport. Well, actually, I don't have a passport. Arrest her! Arrest her! I mean, that's what they do. Handcuffs. It's like, look, I lost my passport, but I come here all the time. Or I got a passport. I have plenty of money. I'm not a criminal. I have no criminal background. I have a full-time job. I have a college degree. I've been employed for the same company for 50 years. I'm retired. I'm a grandmother. I got tons of money. I'm a multimillionaire. And I'm just coming in to visit some friends for a month. And they harass the hell out of that person. Oh, that's the person you want in the country. You want that person to actually immigrate. You should say, hey, why don't you stay here? Bring your money here. Start a business here. You're not going to commit crimes. You're stable. You don't need any government assistance. You're going to actually add to the economy. You're intelligent. You're articulate. You're educated. That's the person we want. They should be approved to immigrate in like 30 seconds. Instead, it takes years, and it's like, no, you can't come in. But if you're coming across the border and you don't speak English, you have no money, so you have to get on government assistance. It's a drain on the economy. And then when that person gets money, and even if they work illegally and get money, guess what they do with the money? They send it back to their home country. So they pull the money out. This happens all over the world with the illegal immigration. Well, I'm not going to start about that. Okay, so Kevin Was Right file. By the way, this week, I am going to take phone calls one of these days. Promise. Just don't know when. But I am going to 5 days a week soon. I also don't know when, but I am. So make sure you tune in. All right, Kevin Was Right file. Oh my gosh. Every time I go on the show, I wonder, am I going to get banned today or tomorrow? Oh, Kevin, is it really that true that people are banning individuals on the internet? What are you talking? Is it really true? EU, European Union. European Union. Love those guys. None of them are elected. They can't be fired. Love it. Free speech? Free flow of ideas? No. Nazi Germany? Yes. EU regulator sends letter to Elon Musk basically trying to stop him from exercising free speech when he interviewed former President Trump. A European Union regulator warned Elon Musk that when you interview President Trump, you better not have any harmful content in that interview. He sent Musk a letter ahead of the interview with Trump, warning about broadcasting that interview with any harmful content, including disinformation. Oh, what's disinformation, by the way? Here's the definition of disinformation. If you say something that the government doesn't like, it's disinformation. Let me tell you what's not disinformation. If I say that the earth is flat, no, the earth actually is not round. It's in the shape of a pyramid. I can say that. That's not disinformation. If I say Elvis Presley is not dead, he's alive. As a matter of fact, he lives in the basement of my house. So I know he's alive because I see him every day. We eat peanut butter and banana fried sandwiches every night. He loves them. I like them now too. He's the best. I can say that even though it's a complete lie and it's not disinformation. But if I say, and I can't even say it because if I say, if I say something that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said, they would ban me, arrest me, handcuffs, disinformation. So disinformation is what the government doesn't like. It's mind-boggling. The point is, I think Elon is one of the richest men in the world, if not listed as the richest man in the world. And he's probably not. One of the Saudi guys are, because they own everything. They don't reveal. But he's certainly one of the richest men on planet Earth. And if
he's listed by Forbes as the richest.
He's listed by Forbes as the richest man on the planet. He's not, but he's super wealthy. I mean, because the richest guys aren't revealing what they own. Believe me, I've been to the palaces over there, and I know what, Anyway, because they got cash. Elon's got a lot of stock. But when you have like when you have a palace that when you walk in, it's really funny. And it's virtually cash money. And it's in American dollars, by the way. I mean, piled up. Okay, like, do you ever see a couple $1 billion in cash money in real, remember when they brought it over on the planes?
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, okay, it's like a whole 747. Okay, so I'm walking in looking at, and then there's the gold bars. Okay, forget Fort Knox. Fort Knox is like a piggy bank compared to what these guys got. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes and touched it. It's kind of fun. Anyway, when you have a regulator from the European Union who's a nobody, you think he's a nobody. He has power, baby, because he's government. He's more powerful than a politician because he's an unelected government official. These are the ones who control the world because they're controlled by the Bilderberg guys and the Brotherhood guys that I used to be a part of. It's scary and it's unfortunate. But when you take the richest man in the world and he's warned by effectively somebody sitting at a desk in Europe, hey, you interview the president, and if you say something we don't like, you could be arrested. I mean, welcome to planet Earth. You're under arrest. Imagine when the aliens come down and say hi. Well, they're already here. Just hi, welcome to planet Earth. You're under arrest. Oh, is it happening? It just happened again. Telegram app founder Pavel Durov arrested at French airport. This goes in the KevinWasRight file. Both of these go in the KevinWasRight. I told you that there is the suppression of free speech, that unelected political officials around the world are clamping down on the free flow of information. Now this Telegram app is an app like WhatsApp. It used to be Signal. I'm not sure if that's around still. There's a couple other ones now. But the big one is WhatsApp, which is owned by Meta, which is owned by Mark Zuckerberg. He's in the group. So they kind of leave him alone. He's does what he's told, kind of. And then you have Telegram. These are encrypted apps that people can use, and you can communicate. We have an app we have a channel on Telegram called the Kevin Trudeau Fan Club Telegram channel, and it's a very effective way. I leave messages. I can broadcast things on that channel. I communicate with my staff. We have different groups. It's just a very effective business management tool of communication. It is very effective. I like it a lot. I just prefer that one over WhatsApp. WhatsApp is bigger. Telegram, I just like it better. And I was talking to Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels the other day, and he likes a different app. I think what is the one that he likes? He's on something over here. He's on Voxer. He likes Voxer, Voxer. Never heard of it before, but that's what he's on. I'm on Telegram. But the founder of the Telegram app, and I don't even know if he owns it, but he was the founder, and I think he's the CEO. They arrested him. Oh, by the way, the guy is worth $15 billion. So he's no salami. This guy's a legitimate guy. He's worth $15 billion. They arrest him. Why did they arrest him? They arrested him because they said, and this is beautiful, they said there are people who use your app to communicate with each other, and they're committing crimes. And you're not monitoring them. You're not stopping misinformation. That's why they're arresting him. They said, you produced an app that, let's say there's a criminal drug dealer who's communicating and he's committing a crime on your app, but you're not monitoring that communication and stopping it and reporting it to authorities. You're also not reporting and stopping and censoring misinformation or hate. So if a Christian gets up there and does the heinous act of reading his Bible, so a Christian gets up and says, hi, I'm on Telegram, I want to read the Bible. And the Bible says that homosexuality should be abolished. And I don't have anything against homosexuals. I have friends who are homosexuals and so forth. But if a Christian read the Bible and they read that particular phrase, or if you read the Quran and it says, kill any infidel, you're reading the Quran. That's hate speech. And therefore, that person has to be banned from Telegram. So you can't read the Bible on Telegram because you'll be banned because that's hate speech. And you can't read the Quran on Telegram because that's hate speech, according to the government. And it's misinformation. So they said to this guy, you founded Telegram, and because people are using Telegram to make statements that are misinformation, and you're not censoring it, you've committed a crime. We're going to arrest you, Mr. Founder of Telegram. Okay, wait a minute. I am confused. I have a cell phone. I happen to use T-Mobile. How come you don't arrest the executives at T-Mobile and say, hey, we know that there are some drug users that are using the T-Mobile platform to make drug deals. They're committing crimes using cell phone service, and you're not monitoring them. Therefore, you're under arrest. President of T-Mobile, president of Verizon, president of AT&T. Why don't you do that? Why don't you arrest the post office executives and say, hey, there are people that are sending mail, and in the mail there's hate speech in the mail. Somebody wrote a letter to somebody, and it was hate speech. Or somebody wrote a letter saying, hey, break me out of prison. How come you're not arresting the executives of the United States Postal Service or the Royal Post Office in England? People are using that platform to commit crimes. How come you're not arresting them? See how stupid it is? I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be aware that governments around the world are clamping down on free speech and the free flow of information at a record pace. That's why they put me in prison for 8.5 years for contempt of court. I wasn't charged with a crime. It's not a felony and not a misdemeanor. That's why the government says heinous things about me and lies about me constantly. They misrepresent the facts, they lie, and it's just not about me. They did the same thing to Alex Jones. They did the same thing to Russell Brand. They do it to people. They did it to the health ranger. They did it to Dr. Mercola. They do it to people who are saying things that they don't like. And they use the government as a weapon to stop the free flow of information. And in my case, under the guise of contempt of court, I sold a book that people loved. It wasn't any victim. Nobody was misled. Nobody was ripped off. It was a joke. And everybody knows it's a joke. The government wants to suppress the free flow of ideas and information. And now you can see it. When they arrest the president of Telegram, multi-billionaire, and they threaten Elon Musk, how dare you interview President Trump and broadcast that on your platform X? He could be arrested for interviewing a former president. Can you imagine that? And it's absolutely true. It's insanity. Kevin Was Right file. All right, Kevin Was Right file. Daily marijuana use linked to increased risk of deadly head and neck cancers, study finds. There's nothing wrong with pot, man. There's no health problems. It's fine. And I've said on this show, and I've said in my book, Natural Cures, I don't care if you smoke pot. I don't judge or criticize. I don't care if you drink a bottle of whiskey every single day. It's your life, baby, not mine. I'll love you no matter what you do. I'm not going to judge or criticize you ever. I'm just going to love you no matter what. I may criticize the performance or the action if it hurts somebody else. But you as a human being and as a spiritual being of love and divinities, I'm going to love you. And if you smoke pot, I'm not going to say anything. If you ask me, hey, Kevin, what do you think about pot? Do you think it's good or bad for you? Well, the research shows it kind of stays in the fatty tissue of the body. It doesn't get processed out of the body. It begins to build up, it causes cancer, causes health problems, causes cognitive decline, motor skill decline over the years. Hey, if you want to smoke, I don't care. But the research now proves that that's true. Kevin was right file. And everyone says, no, it doesn't cause any problem. Yeah, it does. But it doesn't matter if you smoke it or not to me. I could care less. EPA takes emergency action to stop use of dangerous pesticide. This goes into Kevin Was Right file. A particular weed killer used in broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and onions has been shown to create impaired brain development, decreased IQ, impaired motor skills later in life. Sure, have some non-organic broccoli. It's healthy for you. Man, why do I have to eat organic, Kevin? It's good for you. I eat broccoli. Yeah, you're not just eating broccoli. You're eating deadly pesticide, herbicides, fungicides. And it causes all types of health problems. No, it doesn't. It's legal. How can it cause health problems and the government allow it to be put on the plants? Oh, you trust the government. Got some swampland in Florida I want to sell you. Some good oil wells, too. Kevin Was Right file. If you're going to eat fruits and vegetables, which you should, eat organic, 100% organic. Kevin Was Right file. The FDA adds more brands to a new alert for lead-contaminated cinnamon. They keep adding. Oh, we didn't see this amount of lead. Lead causes brain damage. You know, like lead is illegal. You can't put lead in paint, remember? Because kids who eat it all of a sudden go, what's wrong with your son? Nothing. He just likes to eat paint a lot. Yeah, lead is a problem, man. Cinnamon, non-organic, conventional cinnamon, and all food that are produced by the food conglomerates. It's loaded with toxins. This is why in the book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, I say, one of the number one reasons, there are 4 reasons you're sick. The number one is the poisons, the toxins that you put in the body from the food you eat, the pharmaceutical drugs, the water you drink, and the air. You're putting in deadly chemicals. Even when you're eating a salad. Oh, I got some fresh cinnamon. You're putting lead in there. And it's causing, Kevin Was Right file. Another article, Kevin Was Right file. Daily marijuana use linked to high risk of cancers. New study. Another one that shows you marijuana use increases cancer. But don't worry, Joe Biden was in charge of the moonshot and President Obama said that he is going to cure cancer. When was that? Like 12 years ago? Yeah. It was like, when was Obama president? It was before
8 years ago.
8 years ago. He was supposed to have finished the job in 2 years. So 6 years ago, it should have been done. But now more and more people are getting cancer. Joe, what happened? Cancer rates in millennials, Gen Xers, have risen sharply in recent years. It says, I'm not laughing at the poor bastards that have cancer and are dying. I'm laughing at the absurdity of the stupidity of you who are just going to McDonald's, wondering why you're sick, Wendy's, Taco Bell, McDonald's, every kind of food you're buying, if it's not 100% organic, is causing illness and disease, little by little. And this is why millennials are now have 10 times more cancer rate than they did 30 years ago. Kevin Was Right file. Talk about population control. It's going to happen now. It's beautiful. I mean, if you want to reduce the population, just have everybody eat at McDonald's and Domino's Pizza and Burger King and Wendy's. Heck, go to any restaurant. You don't even have to go to fast food. It's all loaded with toxins. I don't care. We got standing room only anyway. I encourage every single person to only eat processed food. Please, we need the room. It'll really reduce the population very quickly. Don't eat organic food. Kevin Was Right file. What to know about Teflon flu amid a rise in cases in the U.S. I talked about this in my book, Natural Cures. Teflon, it's in like everything. Still, you take some Teflon. This is beautiful. Do you remember in the old days you had miners, they would bring canaries? Did you know this, Trey? Did you know the canaries? Of course not. All right, so in the old days, miners, when they would go into the mine, they would take canaries with them. Nice, beautiful, happy canaries. The reason is, if there was a toxic gas in the mine, the canary would die before you did. So if you saw the canary dying or croak, you would immediately go, there's toxic gas in here, let's get the hell out of here. Now they don't use that anymore, they actually have equipment that tells you the toxic levels. But in the old days, you used to bring a canary. So there was a video I saw 20 years ago. This guy, it was a true one. He had a canary, his pet canary here, and he's cooking with the Teflon pan. And all of a sudden the canary, I'm not laughing at the canary, but it was funny. It was so sad because the poor canary was like, and then boom, falls over dead while the guy's cooking his eggs in the Teflon pan. Why? Because when you heat up the Teflon, it produces this toxic gas that's poisonous. So now this is actually in ABC News, which you'll never see in the mainstream media. It talks about how Teflon is producing flu-like symptoms in people that won't go away. It says, we don't yet know the long-term effects, but we do know that these chemicals produced by Teflon when you heat them up are associated with a variety of health conditions like thyroid abnormalities, which means you get fat, cancers, kidney cancer, and problems with infertility. You wonder why everybody in America I can't have a kid. What's wrong with I'm not infertile. Give me some more eggs, honey. Kevin Was Right file. All right, here's another one, Kevin Was Right file. I said on this show, I said it 20 years ago, that the government is lying to us about inflation. How much money do you make today? What is your annual income compared to what it was 4 years ago? And you say it's the same. Okay, it's the same. Are you making the same income today as you were 4 years ago? Yes. Well, I got a pay cut because the tax rates changed and all of a sudden my net just went down, right? This happened in January. So the tax rates changed. So are you bringing home, let's say your salary is the same. And for most people, if I say, are you making the same amount of money today as you were 4 years ago? If you're in the same job, the answer is yes. You didn't get a raise. It's usually the same. Are you taking home the same or are you taking home less or more? For most people, it's the same or a little less. Some people, it might be a little more, but it's very minor. But here it says food prices have changed radically over the last 4 years. And this article goes on to say, it's very confusing that today, grocery prices in America are 50% higher than they were 4 years ago. Well, do you have a 50% increase in income? Nobody got a 50% increase in their job. Hey, congratulations, we'll give you a raise. 50% increase over 4 years ago. No one's got that. But the prices at the grocery store are up 20 to 50%. And the prices of everything are up, with rare exception. There's a few things that a little bit less, but mostly it's higher. The inflation rates that they're talking about are a big lie. I said you're being lied to. Your quality of life and standard of living is going down because your income is going up slightly and the prices of everything is going up massively, which means you're getting effective pay cuts. Your quality of life and standard of living are going down, not just in America, but in Canada, all throughout the EU and all over the world, with some countries are a little different than others. That goes into Kevin Was Right file. Kevin Was Right file. Ultra-processed plant-based foods. Let me say it again. Ultra-processed plant-based foods. Let me say it this way. Ultra-processed vegan foods raise your risk of serious health conditions. Plant-based foods is another word for vegan. All you vegans, you think just because it says vegan, it's healthy. No, listen, eating fruits and vegetables is very healthy for you. Eating processed vegan food, which is what 90% of vegans eat, ultra-processed food, but because it says vegan, they think it's, oh, I'm so healthy. Look, I interviewed, I think, 100 people. I think it was 150 people in that range. 20 years ago when I wrote the book Natural Cures, who were between the ages of 95 and 100, who didn't take any drugs. They were completely healthy. They were out there climbing trees and pruning them. I was in the Amazon. The guy was running, shooting a monkey to eat for dinner. People are out there digging up potatoes, and this woman is carrying a sack of potatoes for a mile. She's walking, and she's 97. So I looked at all these people that were between the ages of 95 and 100, and I asked them, are you a vegan? And they all, like, what are you talking about? As they were eating their, chicken or beef or pork or kidneys or whatever. So this goes on to talk about how ultra-processed food, even if it's vegan food, is giving you cancer, giving you all types of disease, including making you fat because it destroys your thyroid. Kevin Was Right file. 2 slices of ham a day raises diabetes risk. Ham is not the problem. I should say pork is not the problem, although in my book I talk about why it's something you should avoid. It's the processing that the chemicals that they put in to make ham. So this is kind of a misleading headline. It suggests that ham, or it suggests that pork is bad, but no, it's not really the pork. It doesn't matter if it's ham or processed turkey. It still increases risk. It's the nitrites, and it's the sodium nitrites and the chemicals that they put in the processed meat that's the problem. Point is, ultra-processed food causes health disease, including ultra-processed meat. Kevin Was Right file. Kevin Was Right file. U.S. government report says fluoride is at twice the recommended limit, and it is causing lower IQs in kids. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I'll be here all week. Thank you again. Thank you, Psychic Kevin Trudeau. I showed you a clip from the movie Dr. Strangelove, where the guy gets up there and he says, it's the fluoride, man. They're putting fluoride in the water. It's going to hurt you. It's terrible. And it was like a joke, right? And then I showed you a clip from Kong versus Godzilla. Is that the one? Kong versus Godzilla? Recently, last 2 years, where they said, I found secret government documents talking about how they're putting fluoride in the water to make you dumb. Right? And now it's true. Well, I said it 25 years ago. But now it's documented. Fluoride in the water, which is in water all over the United States. I think it's illegal in Switzerland. You can't put it in there because it's a poison and a toxin and it makes you stupid. But it's being put in water. The Nazis put it in the water supply in the ghettos to keep the IQs down and make people dumb and docile. The US government is doing exactly the same thing in governments around the world. They're putting fluoride in the water. You're drinking it like a stupid person. And then you wonder why your kids are dumb and retarded. And I meet so many people say, oh, my son has a learning disability. Oh, my son is autistic. Oh, my son has got, attention deficit disorder and so forth and so on. And when you combine giving a kid like 87 vaccines in one day when he's 3 years old and he does this afterwards, and then he's drinking water with fluoride, and it's now, oh, it's misinformation? No, it's not. I'm reading a headline. Kevin Was Right file. Kevin Was Right file. Tiny shards of plastic are in our brains, study finds. There are 50% higher amounts of plastic found in our brains today than in 2016. Wait a minute. You mean you found plastic in brains in 2016 and didn't say anything? It's also in the kidneys, liver, and lungs. And it's now linked to a variety of health issues. Oh, don't worry about this because the drug companies love it. The sicker a person is, they get to sell you some more drugs. Do you think that the drug companies have anything to do with increasing illness and disease? Well, I don't care if you think it or not. I have been in the rooms where the plan is to use the food industry and to do what can we do to increase illness and disease, because then we'll have more customers to sell our drugs to. So the food industry puts chemicals in there to get you physically, chemically addicted to the food and also create health problems. And let's get plastic in the water supply so it gets in the kidneys, lungs, liver, and brain, and now we'll be able to sell more drugs. Oh, I've talked about this before. I'm just highlighting it right now. I'll talk more about it in the future. Kevin Was Right file. Kevin Was Right file. Walmart recalls apple juice sold in 25 states due to arsenic. Kevin Was Right file. Eat only organic food, because stuff that's not organic is loaded with poisonous chemicals, giving you a whole host of health problems. Oh, misinformation. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He wrote that book, Natural Cures. He's a big liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. We should hold him in contempt of court for lying and misleading people about health. Put him in prison. Thank you. Kevin Was Right file. Arsenic in apples. Eat your apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. If it's not an organic apple a day makes you a better customer for the drug companies. And I got this, and we're going to be down here. Somebody gave this to me the other night at dinner. I was doing the money processes dinner last night, and I got the Anunnaki. If you don't know what that is, it's about aliens. I'm going to do a show on aliens coming up soon, and I'll just give you a little taste here. The thing about ancient aliens, number one, there are aliens around today. We'll talk about that. Aliens have been around for a long time. Science says there's no evidence that aliens have been on planet Earth. They're the dumbest people. Of course there's evidence. There's evidence all around us. All you have to do is open your eyes. It's very simple. Here is the proof that aliens, advanced aliens with advanced technology, came to Earth tens of thousands of years ago. Here is the absolute 100% proof. And it's all over the world. You can go to 100 different sites, more, and you see a piece of stone that weighs 150 tons. And it is cut. It's basalt, which is harder than granite. It's, I think, the hardest compound on the planet next to a diamond. And you take this 150-ton block of basalt, and it's cut into a perfect rectangle, or with a perfect angle on both sides. And you take your hand, and by the way, it's dated 10,000 or more years ago. So 10,000 years ago, this was made by the primitive people 10,000 years ago who had a hammer and chisel. Okay. No electricity, no power saws, no laser beams, hammer and chisel. And they have a 150-ton piece of basalt. And with their hammer and chisel, they were capable of creating this angle perfect cut. And you take your hand and you put it across, and it is as if it's glass. And you ask any engineer on the planet today, I want you to make this today using the technology that was available 10,000 years ago. And they laugh at you like you're a fool. What do you mean you can't do it with a hammer and chisel? Well, clearly the people 10,000 years ago, that's what they did. And they look at you and say, do you realize that even with laser cutting technology, diamond cutting technology, it would almost be impossible to make that today? Forget about moving it. You can't make today what was made at least 10,000 years ago. Because we don't even have the technology today to make those cuts with that precision. The precision defies the tolerances that they have today when they're doing cuts. It is unbelievable. The right angles are absolutely perfect to like 1/100th of a centimeter. And they did this with a hammer and chisel. Well, number one, even if you had basalt hammer and chisel, it still wouldn't work. You can't do it. The only way you can cut basalt is with either a laser or a diamond cutter. They didn't have that back then. They didn't have machines. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have lasers. But the aliens did. And now we have even more evidence. Scientists discover structure and tools that are older than humanity itself. This article goes on to talk about what we thought we knew about humans has been flipped upside down. Researchers have now discovered an ancient structure dating back almost 500,000 years. Wait a minute. Archaeologists, historians say that the oldest civilization is only like 5,000 years old. So 5,000 years ago, we had civilizations. Before that, there was no civilizations. They were just like monkeys running around, becoming humans. And now they found a structure that required advanced technology to build that's 500,000 years old. So I'm going to talk more about this because at the end of the day, aliens have been around on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years, and they're here today. And that's good news, by the way. When you understand why they're here, what they're doing, where they come from, and the dozens of various alien races that have visited and are visiting, it's exciting. It's exciting. And someone said, Kevin, how do you know all this stuff? Well, I'll have we should get Bob Lazar on the show. And the reason I like Bob Lazar is Bob Lazar and I were at the same place, Area 51. I never met him there, I never saw him there, but he knows that when you go down the road, you take a left instead of a right. He's the only one who said that. I think, of course, you take a left, and that's when it opens up in the side of the mountain. That's where you go in. That's where the stuff is. Over there, it's the military stuff. And everybody's departmentalized, so nobody even knows what the other person's doing. It's fantastic. So we'll talk about that. I want to give you a quote before we leave today. By the way, make sure you do subscribe to this channel. If you're on YouTube, we're also on Rumble. We broadcast on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify and Apple Podcast and some others as well. So please subscribe. Please share the video with as many people as you can. Leave comments. Read the comments on other people's comments. And I'm going to ask you something. I am going to start going to 5 days a week, and I'm going to start having some guests on my show. I mentioned I want to have Bob Lazar on my show. There are many other people I want to have on my show. Who would you like me to interview or talk to on my show? Go to the comments section. I don't care if you're on Spotify or if you're on Rumble or if you're on YouTube or if you're on Apple Podcasts. We check them all. Go to the platform that you're listening or watching the show on and tell me who you would like to see as a guest. And over the next few months, we will work on trying to get those people as guests because we are going to be going to 5 days a week. And on Sunday, a spiritual show. That show is going to be called Kevin Trudeau, Spiritual Materialism. It'll be the most revolutionary, quote, church spiritual show you've ever seen, because it's going to explain how there is something called spiritual materialism. You can be enlightened, you can be completely one with the universe and drive a Rolls Royce and have all the money you want. You can have it all because you won't be attached to material things, and you'll love everyone. You'll love everyone. And remember, that's what it's all about. Always choose love. And when you go through life, always ask yourself, what would love do? What would love do? If you're an Eastern person, what would Krishna do? What would Ram do? What would Vishnu do? Hanuman. If you're a Muslim, what would Allah tell you to do? What would Muhammad tell you to do? Choose love. If you're a Christian, what would Jesus do? Choose love. Always choose love. And remember, it always comes from within. Don't judge or criticize. Love people unconditionally, without exception, and without condition. There's an ancient proverb that says, what the superior man sees is within himself, the small man in others. Look within. God dwells within you as you. You are the pure expression and extension of God's love and light. Just as God is love, so are you. There's one definition of God in the entire Bible. It's in the book of John, and he says, God is love. And it's true. I love you, and so does God. We all love you. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. This is the Kevin Trudeau Show, everything they don't want you to know about. Make sure you subscribe, leave comments, check out our websites, go to KevinTrudeau.com, check things out, join, subscribe, get on mailing lists, become a partner, become a member in GIN. Do what you can. We'd love to have you participate and get all the benefits of everything I have to offer. Much love, everybody. See you next time.